Looking at 5% incline, 13 kilometres from the back. So if we look at before, we'll start with the feet. The first thing we noticed on the feet was that right foot when it was landing, it was pointing towards that corner of the treadmill. And as the left foot come into swing phase, we had that heel was internally rotating. So the top of the heel is looking to point into the opposite corner of the room. If we look at where we are now with that foot landing, so you can see on that right foot, got it landing nice and straight, facing forwards, and we've got that heel now pointing nicely up towards the glute. So the ankles have strengthened, really good improvement on that work in particular. So we've got great improved mechanics and alignment of that foot and ankle when it comes into strike. If we now work further up, we look at our arms. Arms are really major importance before. And the reason why, because they give us rhythm, balance, control, and activate the core, and also coordinate the legs. And your significant and amazing improvement on the leg cycle and the neatness of it, the tidiness, is all down to how your arms are functioning now. So before, I've just freeze framed you here. We could see we had a heavy rotation on coming off that right shoulder, wanting to come across the body, and the arms are out to the side. So we can see there we had that twisting, that position, and that chest, that right part of the chest is wanting to point to where the session plan is there. So we had a lot of rotation in that torso. If we look at where we are, if we just play that on, also just see the arms, just bring that round where they're compensating for balance. We've got the left one out away from the ribs. We've got the right one out as well. And we've got that twist coming in. So we're bracing a little bit from those arms. That's a good one to show the right hand side where that elbow is distance from. If we look after, and I'm going to pause there afterwards, we've got that motion of one arm driving forward, coming forwards, one arm driving backwards, and that right one is now close to the body. We've got the wrist pointing towards the hip, and it's working in that pendulum going back and forth. Before, it's very subtle, but you'll notice your palm of your hand was actually facing down to the ground, but now it's facing towards that hip. If we move it to the other side, again, got hip, hand to the hip, elbow coming back, and now your shoulders are square. Your shoulders are square to where we're going, so facing forward. So that is a really, really good position. Your upper body is not compensating anymore. All that movement is coming from the arm and that drive. So that when that elbows come back, that is propelling you forwards. In terms of your arms, just remember shorter, faster if you want to go quicker, or the opposite, longer and slower to slow down the legs. But it's nice, smooth. The head position is staying still all the way. Arms are coming up to shoulder, and the angle is very, very good. And I'll just highlight before where I mentioned about your palm, where it's facing down to the ground here, and the thumb was pointing away, whereas now, as it comes forwards, it is facing always to your hip in that position. So really good arm drive. The way in which you've got it coordinated is absolutely phenomenal. So really, really be proud of that improvement you've made on there. Now, if we look at what effect those arms have had on the lower body, we're going to take it down now to have a look at the crossover. So we'll have a look again at where we were before, and we'll see where we are now on that particular point. So if we look at the left foot before. Just take away your arrows here and your line. So if we look at where we were before at this 5%, on that crossover, we had that heel coming slightly across that body line on that side. If we look at where we are after, we've got brought that through. First of all, the foot is, we've got that left foot landing nice and straight again, so it's facing forwards there, which is brilliant. And we've got on this side, just want to just check that line. There we are, it's midline. So we brought it further, that left foot is now tighter to that line. Still would like to bring that foot over to where my arrow is, so we're just in line with the hips and landing on 2 tracks. But we have made a shift, a small shift across, which is really encouraging to see. And if we look at the right side, this is where we had a bigger crossover in mid-stance. So I'll just move your arrow before. So it's going through. So we can see that right one is coming really across before. If we have a look at after, we've still got it there. We're still crossing it over, but it is heavily reduced. And if I just bring that back to show you again, so if we look at before, so it's there, the whole of that heel is over. Got that angle of the foot. And then after, we've taken a quarter of that heel back across. And that foot is nice and straight. So again, still want to be getting that foot coming across a little bit of fraction to where my arrow is here, just landing on 2 tracks, and that's just something to just keep thinking about, keep working on as well. But to sum up those arms, you've got great rhythm, balance, control, coordination. Shoulders are square and stable. You're running tall as a consequence of your soft knee. And also those arms are coordinating that leg cycle nicely, so it's really, really tidy. The angle of the arms is very, very good. We've got those shoulders driving that action backwards, and an improvement in your balance as well. So really, really impressive, Andrew. Keep running, keep practicing, and keep reinforcing all those aspects we've worked on. Been brilliant to work with, thoroughly enjoyed those sessions, and be proud of your improvements that you made.